Hello everyone, and welcome to the second episode of the TAG1 any% speedrun tutorial. If you haven't seen the previous parts, the playlist will be linked down in the description below. To clear up some confusion over the first episode regarding my input layout, SG means shotgun, SSG means super shotgun, and PB means precision bolt, aka heavy cannon. Last video we went over the intro of the run where most resets typically happen. This video will feature the middle section of UAC Atlantica, where the movement really starts to shine. Last episode ended with pressing this button at the end of the fight. After doing so, there will be some movement. As usual, I'll be showing you a clip of it being done fast, explaining it, and then showing you another one at full speed. This episode will be dedicated to the movement out of the button, crane skip, cargo storage fight, and burning shipyard punch boost. This movement here is actually quite simple, but before going over it, here's a clip of it being done fast. After pressing the button here, switch to the Arbalist mod of the ballista. Since we can't move here, it's free and we'll need it for later. Hook on the soldier here, switch to the precision bolt to kill him so he doesn't block us, B-hop here, and ballista boost around the monkey bar, while making sure to grab the dash refill on your way to the platform. Both the B-hop before the ballista shot and avoiding the monkey bar are entirely optional, but are fast. Feel free to skip on those if this part gives you trouble, and if you do, add in a ballista boost out of the monkey bar to gain some speed. From here, use your hook once again on this zombie, since the spider moves way too much, and land on this little ledge. Move forward into the wall and make sure you're not doing so in an angle, and you'll see that the Doomsdayer appears to wobble slightly. Once you spot that, wait just a moment and dash to perform a dash boost. The height gained by this dash boost is enough to send you to the climbable wall over there, but you'll need to use a ballista boost to push yourself a bit further. It's important that you fire the ballista relatively soon, as shooting it too late will cause you to lose height before you're able to get close enough to the wall. Feel free to use your second dash here if needed. The movement to the crane switch up ahead can be as complicated as you want it to be. You could dash the entire way, you could jump from the wall, land and ballista boost, or you can go as fast as possible with a jump from the wall into a ballista boost and a B-hop right afterwards. Just make sure you're using the chain gun when shooting this button, as chain gun is incredibly ammo efficient and hit scan, meaning it'll shoot as soon as you press with little to no delay. It is technically possible to save yourself after getting hit by the fan, but it's pretty difficult, so don't feel bad if you end up missing it on the few times or you don't deactivate the fan. In fact, here's another fast clip of this movement with me doing just that. From here, pick up the chainsaw and head to the switch. We're going to use this to perform what we call a punch boost. When we punch this green button in order to activate the crane, the game will pull us into the button as we punch. This skip involves a lineup that puts solid geometry between us and the switch, while still allowing us to get pulled into it, causing the game to give us the speed required to be pulled into the switch, but that speed will be redirected and therefore never taken away. Setting this up and doing it at full speed would look something like this. Before I start explaining how to make this happen, there are a few things I need to mention. First, the speed obtained from punch boosts is unfortunately dependent on your frame rate. 220 frames per second and above will be able to do this trick smoothly with the fastest setup, and 120 frames and above should be able to do it fairly smoothly with the weapon wheel setup instead. The lowest frame rate in which I was still able to get that consistently is 90, but the act of setting up the lineup becomes very awkward. This skip is much more forgiving than others, but is still difficult nonetheless. To check your FPS, go to the Settings menu and go to Video. Under the Video section, you'll see a setting called Performance Metrics. Turn that to low and you'll see an FPS counter at the top right of your screen. Crane skip saves between 30 to 35 seconds, but balances it out by being difficult to execute. I would recommend against going forward in runs until you feel comfortable. Now for the lineup. Take a look at this circular shape at the bottom of this device. We're going to be standing on a weird and slightly finicky corner of it that exists right here. In order to get on top of the shape, I recommend either jumping on it with a single jump input or simply walking onto it. Macro gives you extra height when you jump and causes you to jump above the entire device. For why that's the case, I direct you again to Drakefo's movement guide. From here, using the forward key will send you downwards along this shape. To counteract this and avoid falling off, turn your crosshair to the right while going down, and you should be good once you can't move anymore. This should be what you see when looking at the Doomslayer's eye level. For the no weapon wheel setup, once you've looked around the area where this dot is, press forward and punch. If you punch before pressing forward, you'll get very little height, so make sure you move forward while punching. If your FPS here isn't high enough, once you're in the correct position and looking at the dot you should be looking at, activate the weapon wheel and hold it for a moment. Then, let go of the weapon wheel, move forward, and punch. The weapon wheel's ability to slow down time will act as an artificial boost to your FPS, since there's a short cooldown between releasing weapon wheel and time speeding back up to normal. The less FPS you have while performing the skip, the more precise you'll have to be when looking at the dot previously mentioned. Once you get the punch boost, you can use 3 to 4 ballista boosts to make it over to this fan over here. Again, use the chain gun to activate this button and land into the air vent. If that proves annoying, land on this platform instead and attempt to bunny hop onto this monkey bar, and then turn around to hit the fan. I recommend hitting the fan after grabbing the monkey bar, as attempting to hit it before risks going through it, as you can't use monkey bars while facing away from them. If you don't want to or can't do the skip, you'll have to activate the crane and wait for it to come down. Once it goes back up, go to the first monkey bar, disable the fan, and from the second monkey bar you'll ballista boost around the fan to avoid the trigger for the upcoming fight. That would look something like this. Once you make it over to this climbable wall, you can actually use it to skip both this arena down here and this arena up here. Simply go over to the top right corner of this climbable wall and look upwards to the right at an angle and jump to go around and on top of the tube like so. As long as you know that looking too far upwards can result in you bonking on the tube, and looking too far forwards can result in you not getting the height you need, you can adjust the angle to make the jump. And that's some movement and crane skip done. Up ahead is the cargo storage fight. As per usual, I'll first be showing you a clip of it being done fast. After crane skip, you'll be entering this fight right here. Once you do, a Baron will pop out of a portal right over there. He takes a little too long to kill, so we're going to use an ice bomb to hit him before he exits that portal, stunning him midair and causing him to fall due to his lack of collision. And the game will kill him shortly after it realizes the Baron is out of bounds. The wave preceding this Baron spawns on a timer, so this trick is essentially free. It's just that the timing is quite precise, and while perfectly possible, it becomes harder to control the fight if the Baron doesn't die quickly. Be warned, the timing for this ice bomb differs between when you enter the fight organically and when you reload checkpoint. When timing this, it's mostly muscle memory, but there is a visual cue that can help make this muscle memory easier to develop. This portal, along with most portals in this game, opens up normally, and once it's close to opening up, a larger circle will form around it as the original portal expands to meet that circle. This is the point in which the portal's function activates. This cue is to be anticipated rather than reacted to, so if you fail, simply kill the Baron with some SSG precision bolt shots, while hitting some headshots to speed it up. From here, go over to where this Cyber Rank spawns while picking up this ammo here. Ideally, you'd use your Blood Punch on it once it spawns. If you froze the Baron, the timers should sort themselves out in a way that allows you to charge an Arbalest here as the carcass spawns, and shoot it as soon as possible. If not, simply use a PB Ballista and turn around to super shotgun the other carcass on your left. From here, the second Baron should already be in the arena and heading to you. You could either kill him with a regular PB rocket, or if you're comfortable with some advanced tech, use a Slob, which stands for Siler Lock-on Burst, Siler being the one who discovered this. You perform it by simply shooting the precision bolt, followed by a rocket, and with some precise timing, use lock-on right after said rocket. If you did so correctly, it should fire really fast. I recommend rewinding the footage and looking at my input layout for this one. The combo with Slob should be a PB rocket and then 3 lock-on volleys, with 2 grenades in between for damage and keeping the Baron in place with falters. I recommend looking upwards while shooting the volleys, as sometimes the rockets can hit geometry while chasing the Baron, if the Baron moves correctly. Once the Baron dies, 2 Cacos and a Pain Elemental will spawn. Bring out the Ballista and charge the Arbalest. If you went with the Slob and the Baron died, you can start charging as soon as the 3rd volley is shot. Kill the 2 Cacos with some Arbalest shots, and then chainsaw the Pain Elemental over here. If you want to be the fanciest person alive, you could kill the Cacos with a tech called double shotting. It's quite difficult and the time save is minimal, so I won't be going over it in this tutorial, and will instead direct you to the speedrunning Discord for more information. No completed run has utilized them as a recording of this video, which is surprising considering we've known about this tech for quite a long time. As of recording this line of the script, it was discovered all the way back in 4 days ago. Unfortunately, we'll have to skip it for this fight, but it will come back in later episodes. Once you've chainsawed the Pain Elemental, turn over to the Doom Hunter and use your Blood Punch. If you don't have a Blood Punch, SSG will be your next best option. Try not to kill too many fodder as you go so they don't respawn, as most of their spawn locations are located in the other side of the arena. Lock on and SSG the Doom Hunter to finish, and clean up the fodder from here. Stickies, a few rockets, and Precision Bolt are recommended. If the shield soldiers end up respawning too far away, you can also use the Microwave Beam to break their shield. Here's another clip of this fight, but with the Ice Bomb on the Baron Mist. And that's the cargo storage fight done. After this fight's finished, we're going to be showcasing the first example of why Marauders in TAG1 are a joke. Ballista boost over to this staircase and ramp hop off of it. As usual, it's fine if you don't get the ramp hop. Ballista boost again into the room and pick up these 2 plasma pickups. The Marauder in this room is triggered by walking close enough to the button, so these ammo pickups are completely free. Make sure you have the chain gun shield equipped, walk up to the portal, activate it, and wait. By being so close to the portal, we block the Marauder from entering, causing the game to kill him once it realizes he's out of bounds, similar to the Baron from the previous fight. When you see your shield flash red, that means the Marauder hit it. From here, feel free to turn around and stand near the button in order to press it as soon as possible. An important note about the shield block is that it is not possible on the current patch of the game due to an invisible wall placed in front of the portal. Instead, we'll do a 1 cycle with the previously mentioned slob, which would look something like this. After pressing the button, skip the cutscene and exit to the menu. It is rare, but it is possible to exit to menu so quickly after the cutscene is skipped that you don't acquire the checkpoint and end up before the Marauder. So try to make sure that doesn't happen. We go to the menu here because otherwise, the game would prevent us from moving while keeping us stuck in a black screen for about 3 seconds. And reloading gives us the ability to not have to deal with that. Once you reload back into the game, if you had the Ballista out, make sure you swap out of it and back into it if you intend to combo the upcoming trick with punch swaps, as punch swaps become slower if you do them after reloading your checkpoint unless you swap weapons. Once the door opens up, launch an ice bomb behind this crate while walking forward to freeze the zombie so it can punch boost off of him. I'm going to turn on no target here to keep the zombie in place. But first, I'll show you how it looks like at full speed. Let's go over that more thoroughly before I show you the backup strat. As with most punch boosts in the game, you want to be aiming at where the enemy is through the piece of geometry we use to obstruct their line of sight. In this case, it's better to keep it slightly above eye level. As you have noticed, this area here is an upward slope. Due to that, when you jump before punching to avoid ground friction, make sure you do so with a macro or scroll wheel, since they give you a little more height than a single jump input. For this punch boost specifically, the macro is recommended. If you are finding yourself getting stuck at the edge here, I recommend attempting to scroll jump before and after the punch to abuse jump extensions and get the height needed. More info about jump extensions in Drake's playlist, found in the description below. As this punch boost happens, you'll be heading through this area, avoiding the monkey bar and going to the left, passing by these tubes, which are a useful visual cue, since the moment after you pass them is a great time to use your double jump and a ballista right after to maintain height. If you got a good boost, you can go right through here and into the door, but the height required is really tight, so it's much more common to end up on the climbable wall and jump onto this platform instead. These tubes are also useful as a perfect segue into the previously mentioned backup strat, as they can be used as a visual cue again to end up at the death plane to skip the same fights the punch boost does, just a little slower. From where you started the punch boost, you can simply use some ballista ammo to head to the water that's past these tubes and fall to the death plane. Once you've done that, you can use 2 more ballista boosts to get to the climbable wall like so. And that's the burning shipyard punch boost done. In summary, this episode has gone over the movement out of the button at the intro, crane skip, cargo storage fat routing, and some more movement. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next episode.